Hey friends, Ash here with Gents. Hope that you're doing well. Today I'm going to be doing a review on Yves Saint Laurent's La Nuit de l'Homme Bleu Electrique. Now this one is the newest flanker in the La Nuit de l'Homme line. It's been getting a lot of love, a lot of hype, and I gotta say, I was on board, did my first impression, and I really liked it. I've been giving it more wear since then, and now I'm going to let you guys know my final thoughts, at least as of this video, on La Nuit de l'Homme Bleu Electrique. So let's jump into it. So let's kick things off, like usual, with the presentation. Get that out of the way real quick. Here you got a good look at the front of the box. This is your standard YSL La Nuit de l'Homme or L'Homme box style and bottle style for that matter. You've got the name of the house, name of the fragrance, size and concentration all on the front like you'd expect. YSL up at the top, nothing doing on the sides. On the back, got your ingredient information. And then on the bottom, you have your badge code. My badge code here is 38U201N. And also a little handy dandy reminder on the bottom of the box to recycle when you're done. And here we've got a look at the bottle. Again, name of the fragrance, name of the house on the front. Looks pretty similar to the Eau Electrique bottle, only this one has a little bit of a more vibrant shade of blue. You've got the YSL logo on top of the cap. On the bottom, a sticker with your badge code. Cap does click into place. And I'll go ahead and waste a couple sprays for you. Here we go. Not bad. So as I mentioned at the beginning of the video, this one has been getting a good amount of hype. And I've got to let you guys know, I'm fully on board. Yeah, like maximum on board, maximally on board. So of course, this is part of the La Nuit de l'Homme line, which was kicked off with this beauty right here, La Nuit de l'Homme Eau de Toilette, which still to this day is the go-to fragrance for cardamom for so many people. If you say cardamom in a fragrance, people will be like, hey, like La Nuit de l'Homme? Like that? And it is kind of a good reference point for cardamom. You can point people to that one and be like, okay, do you smell that fragrance? Yeah. Okay. A lot of what you're smelling is cardamom. Now go to this fragrance. Do you smell something a little bit similar in this one to that one? Yeah, that's probably the cardamom. Really nice scent, great for evenings, date nights, you know, the whole 9 yards. People love it. And I mentioned already this one, La Nuit de l'Homme Eau Electrique, which came out before Bleu Electrique. I bring this up because it's the most obvious one to compare to Bleu Electrique. This one did not get a lot of love. And the reason for that is because this is more like La Nuit de l'Homme Eau Eros. This maybe has some of that La Nuit de l'Homme DNA in it, but it has a whole bunch of Versace Eros in there too, or at the very least, the bare minimum, you would say it's inspired by Versace Eros. I don't think it's a terrible fragrance. I actually think it's a really nice compliment puller, really versatile, good for an evening out. But a lot of people did not like this one because of that kind of Eros inspiration that took place. Thankfully though, La Nuit de l'Homme Bleu Electrique, it's not really like Eau Electrique at all. This one, if you want to break it down in the simplest of terms, smells like they took the original La Nuit de l'Homme DNA, made it fresher, more modern, and gave it a blue twist. Basically exactly what you would expect. So when you first spray on La Nuit de l'Homme Bleu Electrique, you're gonna get that La Nuit de l'Homme DNA immediately. That cardamom, you pick it up instantly. But here, like I just mentioned, much fresher. And it's made fresher by that classic combination of ginger and citrus. So it takes that cardamom note, which comes across exactly like you remembered it, sweet, a little bit warm and sexy. But here it's met with this contrasting, fresh, lively, zingy citrus and ginger combination that makes the opening here just explode off my skin. And I mean that in a positive way because, you know, something exploding off your skin maybe doesn't put the greatest image in your mind. Just my skin just blowing off. The opening here is just fantastic. Love the way it smells. And I've gotten great feedback from my wife and other people as well. What's funny about that though, is I did a smell and rate with my wife with these tester strips, and it was newer releases from this year. And La Nuit de l'Homme did okay, La Nuit de l'Homme Bleu Electrique, but not fantastic. And I was just like, this is the same fragrance that you said is awesome when I'm wearing it. What is going on? The answer to that, my friends, is tester strips. Maybe not always the greatest way to experience something. I digress though. The opening, I love it. Love it, love it, love it. As it dries down, you pick up that lavender in the mid. It does come across at times a little bit powdery, like a touch of powder, but it doesn't go overwhelmingly powdery off my skin, so no problem whatsoever with me. As it dries down, very nice, somewhat rich, but at the same time very clean and modern woods, cedar and vetiver in the base. You get a little bit of the residual, sweetness and freshness from the opening that carries over. So this is a fragrance that does stay on that fresher side of things than it does going into the full-on, embrace of an evening fragrance like La Nuit de l'Homme, the original, does. And I would say overall, the fragrances in the line that this reminds me the most of are the original La Nuit de l'Homme and La Nuit de l'Homme Frozen Cologne. Now, between the original La Nuit de l'Homme and Frozen Cologne, I think that Bleu Electrique is closer to the original. Yes, it's doing the same thing that Frozen Cologne did, which is taking that La Nuit de l'Homme DNA and freshening it up and making it more versatile. It's doing that. But Frozen Cologne was a little bit more different than the original La Nuit de l'Homme. Bleu Electrique, it plays closer to that original DNA. Frozen Cologne, for example, even though it smells like it does have kind of a cardamom vibe, doesn't really put that cardamom right to the front of the fragrance. Instead, you get a lot more geranium. But here with Bleu Electrique, that cardamom, you pick it up right away. Now, I love Frozen Cologne too. Fantastic scent. Sucks that it was discontinued. It is not worth the price now though. Not at all. It's not. There are people on eBay asking between $350 and $500 per bottle right now. And there's only a few for sale. So, I mean, it's not like you can, pick and choose and maybe contact people and try to work the price down. There's none out there. So while Frozen Cologne is a great addition, or was a great addition to the La Nuit de l'Homme line, and it did have this great fresh touch, it's frankly just not worth it anymore. So back to Bleu Electrique. Is it worth it at full retail? For me, absolutely. This is one of the best releases of the year. I haven't sat down and figured out what I feel like is the best of the best, the top 5 or whatever. I'll do that later, but it's definitely going to be on there. It is one of the best releases of the year, designer wise, period. And flanker wise, probably the best flanker of the year. I mean, again, we'll see, when I do the final list and sit down with everything that I bought this year that was new. But as I'm sitting here today, this is just amazing. It is great. This is what flankers should be, where you take that DNA that's tried and tested and true that people love, reimagine it a little bit, give it tweaks and twists and turns, and making it into something that makes that original DNA exciting again. The versatility here, fantastic. This is basically a year-round fragrance. I know some people would say maybe not summer, because it does have, that La Nuit DNA, that cardamom, but I think that it's offset enough with the contrasting fresher notes here that you can pull this off in summer. Now, maybe it's not your standard summer fragrance, the ones that would just be aquatic or really citrusy and light, but I think you can still pull it off. It's not like it's really overly heavy. Yes, there's sweetness in here. Yes, there's spice, but you can still pull it off. So for me, I think year round. And as far as daytime or nighttime, either one. Again, going back to that name, Bleu Electrique, that blue fragrance factor, if you want to call it that, this is taking La Nuit de l'Homme and turning it into an anytime sort of fragrance. La Nuit de l'Homme, a lot of people thought, okay, nighttime use only, maybe spring, early spring, fall, maybe winter, but it's not so strong, so who knows? That's kind of how people view La Nuit de l'Homme. Bleu Electrique, anytime, anywhere, doesn't matter. Now, as far as performance goes, and that's one of the big knocks on the original. La Nuit de l'Homme, people will say, oh, it just doesn't perform, it doesn't project, it's kind of like with the one eau de parfum or eau de toilette. Bleu Electrique has better performance. So another thing they improved here. In terms of longevity, 7+ hours off my skin, last a good amount of time. Projection, more moderate. It's not really a monstrous projector or anything like that. For the first hour and a half, pretty good, but after that it sits closer. But it's still there. You can still pick it up. So you do have that capability of just spraying it on like before you go out, and it's still gonna be there when you get back in. It's not one of those fragrances where you have to be like, oh, I gotta reapply, or anything like that. You don't have to go monstrously heavy. You don't have to douse yourself with it. It works well. So for as much flack as Yves Saint Laurent has gotten for their flankers in the L'Homme line and the La Nuit de L'Homme line, sometimes it's been warranted, sometimes it hasn't. Like sometimes they just get written off as soon as they come out as being trash and people really don't give them a chance. This time, I feel like they nailed it. What they pitched this as, what they presented this as, La Nuit de L'Homme, basically reimagined as a modern blue take on that classic, well now classic DNA, they delivered. That's exactly what they gave everyone. Better performance, frankly, for nowadays, probably a better complement factor if that's important to you. Maximum versatility here. It's a great scent. So for me, La Nuit de L'Homme, Bleu Electrique, liked it with the first impression, love it now. Great scent. And also, I guess I'll just throw this out there. There will be people that are going to be paranoid that this is going to be reformulated, because that's one of the biggest things with La Nuit de L'Homme, the original. You can go down that rabbit hole and, you know, good luck. I'll never see you again. But reformulations with the original, that's a big sticking point. So if that's important to you, you want the original formulation at any cost, go ahead and pick up Bleu Electrique. I think it is worth the price. Full retail, it's worth it. I think at discounters, whenever it hits them, if it marks it off, you know, $10, $20, it's even more worth it then. So there we go, La Nuit de L'Homme, Bleu Electrique. For me, this is a win. This is gonna be one of the best releases of the year as far as designers go. All right, guys, it's gonna do it for me. If you've smelled La Nuit de L'Homme, Bleu Electrique, let me know what you think about it in the comments below. Let me know how you think it compares to the original. Frozen Cologne, if you've ever smelled that one, and Eau Electrique. Thanks for hanging with me. Thanks for all your support. Stay safe out there. See you guys tomorrow with another fragrance video. See you later.